Hello there, good afternoon, welcome back to my channel. My name is Louise and this is Louise's Lifestyle. This afternoon we're looking at growing papaya. So if you're new here, please hit the subscribe button and check out my other videos. So growing papaya in the UK, can it be done? Well, my own experience of growing papaya, I've had a couple of papaya trees that were fully grown when I got them. When I say fully grown, they were mature, probably 2-year-old trees, but never got any fruit off them. So they were grown from seed, and I've actually tried to grow from seed a number of times. I think the largest plant I got was probably about 18 inches tall, and it never got to a stage where it would have been able to produce fruit. It eventually died. So that's one experience. But my daughter, who when she was 15, this was a few years ago, she and her friend volunteered at the horticultural centre, which was attached to the high school that she used to attend. And it was literally next door. It was on the land that the school owned, so they had access to it. And I suggested to her and her friend that they should try and grow some tropical fruit in there. So they did have tropical trees in this greenhouse, but they didn't have any papaya. So I gave them some seeds, and her friend sowed the papaya seed, got lots of plants to germinate, but only one successfully grew into a mature tree. When I say mature, it was about 1.5 years later that tree actually produced flowers and fruited. And I actually got one of the little fruits off, given to me by the lady who managed the greenhouse there. So yes, it is possible if you've got a very hot, humid environment like a greenhouse, a heated greenhouse or heated conservatory, and you've given it the right conditions. It is possible to get them to fruit, because they fruit relatively early for a fruit tree, around about the 15-month mark. So what have we got here today? This is my mountain papaya. I've grown this from seed, and I've put the date on there. I actually had 4 seeds planted in here, and only this one survived. I think there were 2 came up and the other 2 never appeared. So that was planted on the 23rd of September 2020, and so this is it now. So the mountain papaya differs from your typical papaya, the fruit that you buy in the stores, in that it grows in South America, and typically in the cooler regions, and cooler regions as being in the mountainous areas. Unlike some papaya which will grow in places like Florida, in the US, where it's very humid, very warm, places like in South Asia, India, Bangladesh, papayas grow there. It's very humid, and they tend to be typically the smaller. When I say small, they can grow pretty big, but the mountain papaya, see if you can get a picture of the fruit of a mountain papaya, tends to be more elongated rather than sort of a pear shape. So I'm hoping that this mountain papaya will continue to grow, and I will keep it indoors. It's not going to be kept outside at any point. I was thinking of taking it to the allotment polytunnel, but it isn't quite warm enough in there yet. As the summer progresses, it will get hotter in the polytunnel, and I might take it up there just to give it a boost for growing conditions, fingers crossed. What I was going to do with this today is repot it, because it's definitely needs a bigger pot. The roots are spreading, you can see around the bottom there in this clear pot. So I've got another clear pot which I've got some perlite in and compost, nothing special. They do like to have free draining soil. They need feeding, so I will be giving it a drink of, this is like an organic seaweed solution, very diluted, but they are heavy feeders, these plants, so in the growing season you need to feed them. During the winter in the UK, if you had one of these, it would slow down because of the lower light levels. You probably wouldn't see any leaf growth, and you may in fact lose a few leaves. So fingers crossed it reaches winter and you know, I can get it to that stage. So I'm doing a repot today. So slightly bigger pot. I've put this pot in here just to create a sort of like a you know, a mold, if you like, so that I can lift that out and then just slot that in there. So I'll do that now. So I've removed it from its pot. It's got some nice healthy roots there, and I've taken the pot out of the centre there to create the space for it to slot into. So just gently ease that in. That's just a nice fit there. So I just have to backfill that where the little gaps are, and I'll just add a little bit more compost, tap it down so there's no air. Well, there will be air because it's got perlite in it, but no huge gaps in between. And just make sure it's nicely firmed in. Looks a little bit cockeyed. Just try and straighten it up. I think it's slightly cockeyed because it's been growing towards the light. So I have to keep turning it every day so to make it, you know, grow in a straight fashion. And I'll just pop it back on the windowsill, which is where it's been. You can see there it's a little bit bent there, and that's where the plant will lean towards where the light is. So try and keep it, well, I should try and keep to rotate it, I should say. Keep rotating it, excuse me, to have it growing, you know, in a straight fashion. So that's the mountain papaya. And what else have I got? So I just put that to one side. So recently I was at the allotment with my friend Shawana. Well, it's her allotment and I've got a little share in it. So if you're following my allotment videos, have a peek at that. And I took a papaya down, and we cut it open, and we were having, you know, it was a really nice sweet papaya, just a standard one that you get in the supermarkets here. I'm not sure what country it had come from. And I said, let's sprinkle some seeds in. So I sprinkled the seeds in the pot, and look at this, all these have germinated. I did leave it at the allotment, but the temperature seems to have got a bit cooler. It's a funny thing really, because in April, the beginning of April, it was really hot, really warm, and then towards the end of April, we've had, and the beginning of May, we've had some really sort of cool, wet weather, I suppose typical British weather, and so that affected the temperatures in the polytunnel, which initially seemed really warm. I thought, gosh, you know, the papaya seedlings, seeds are going to germinate quickly in here, and they hadn't. So I brought them home. I brought this pot home. It's been probably 4 days, maybe. Yeah, I think it's been 4 days, and I put it in the propagator, and hey presto, lots of papaya seedlings, lots and lots. I've got some more actually upstairs, all about this size. Now, it's not hard to germinate papaya seedlings. I've done it before, but they, as I said, you know, they don't seem to go past 18 inches. So, and that's having them on the windowsill here at home. Don't have a greenhouse, and I didn't have a polytunnel. But I'm thinking, now that I've got access to a polytunnel this year, I might be able to get these to grow at least maybe to this size, you know, a decent size, fingers crossed. So they will need to be thinned out, naturally, you know, they are very close together. So I'm not going to thin them out now. I think some of them will just die off themselves, and I'll just leave the stronger ones to continue to grow. They're in quite a, you know, a decent sized pot, so the roots will go straight down. And I'll pull out any ones that look you know, look like they're struggling, or they look like they're going to die off, or they're wilting. I'll just pull those out. So a lot of these are not going to survive. So I've just brought it inside. This is Carica quercifolia, oak leaf papaya. I've been growing this from seed since 2019 October, so it's about 1.5 years old. I did some videos of it last year in the summer, had lots of leaves on it then. I was doing an experiment, and I'm continuing to do the experiment of keeping this outside. I did put some protection on it during the very cold frosts, and we've had snow here, temperatures dropping below zero over many days. So it's had some protection with a very thin fleece just over the trunk. No protection around the pot. So I've kept the pot as dry as possible, not watered it over winter. And then just recently, I gave it a little bit of a water when we started to get that warm weather at the beginning of April. So I gave it a drink then, and since then it's sort of, it's moist underneath. It looks dry on the top, but it's moist underneath, so I don't need to give that any water. And what I'm waiting for is any signs of life. I mean, it's showing that it's nice and green, so that's a good sign. It's not, you know, it's not got black. You know, if it was white and black mold around here, then that would be a bad sign. But looking at it, there was some sort of shrinking at the top. It was kind of looking a bit shriveled, so I chopped that area. It's about 1 inch off, and I dusted it with cinnamon. So having a closer look, so there's no signs of any life just yet. I'm just hoping that it will make it, and my experiment of trying to get a cold hardy variety of papaya to grow here in the UK, that is, you know, by hook or by crook. So let's see if I'm successful.